Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. Well, I know that there's a group of Australians at the moment that are laughing at the title, and there is a group of people from other parts of the world going, what on earth is a drongo? So let's just start with our Australian slang lesson, and we'll see where we go. So this is a website that talks about Australian slang. We have a big term. A drongo is a fool, a simpleton, an idiot. There's also a bird called a drongo. The spangled drongo is found in northern and eastern Australia, as well as in the islands to the north of Australia and further north to India and China. It's called a drongo because the name of the bird came from the same family in northern Madagascar. The spangled drongo is not a stupid bird. It is not a galah. One book describes it as thus: the spangled drongo catches insects in the air, chasing them in aerobatic flight. There is one odd story about a drongo, however. Unlike the migratory birds, it appears to migrate to cold regions in winter. Some have suggested that this is the origin of the association of stupidity with the term drongo, but it seems most unlikely. So what is the true story? There was an Australian racehorse called Drongo during the 1920s. It seems likely that he was named after the bird called Drongo. He wasn't an absolute no-hoper of a racehorse. He ran second in the VRC Derby and St. Leger, third in the AJ St. Leger, and fifth in the 1924 Sydney Cup. He often came very close to winning major races, but in 37 starts, he never won a race. In 1924, a writer in the Melbourne Argus comments, Drongo is sure to be a very hard horse to beat. He's improving with every run, but never wins. Soon after the horse's retirement, it seems that racegoers started to apply the term to horses that were having unlucky careers. So anyway, a drongo is a simpleton but complicated one. He's a simpleton of the sort who not only falls over his feet, but does so at Government House, who asks about his future mother-in-law to pass the magic word salt the first time the girl asks him home. In an emergency, he runs heroically in the wrong direction. If he was Superman, he would get locked in the telephone box. He never wins, so he is a drongo. So that is the term drongo. It's an Australian slang term. Now, the reason why I asked this, hello, Dollar Tree, Angela. There is a tweet. There's a Twitter thread that has started this. All right. Look, I don't know. I mean, so this is what's been said. Breaking news. Todd Chrisley has apologised to Katie without a crystal ball for the way he talked to her. Yes, I can't believe it too. Then he lies and says there was no settlement. He's playing semantics. We have court papers to show there was a settlement between Katie and the Proco. If he means production company, there was a court order that dismissed with prejudice the action against the production company. I've seen that. But that doesn't mean that there was a settlement done. It just means that there was so I've not seen it. So I wrote where there's no court documents, and he didn't say that in his podcast either. If you have court documents, prove them and show it. Otherwise, shut up and leave it for the big boys. The big boys to talk about your court cases. Anyway, and then I've just had somebody else just have a go at me because apparently I'm really, it says, what was that? Man, Joanne, I'm surprised at your response. What did What did Unirock ever do to you? TC himself posted the response Unirock is mentioning. Interesting, because hello Cal, hello Oz. But the issue that I have is there is no settlement. There's a court order that dismisses with prejudice, that has dismissed it with prejudice. Now, we will listen to the podcast. I've heard a bit of the podcast. I don't believe he said it. Everyone's talking about, so it says there are the court orders, check the replies, Norway posted it. Obviously, it's just another lying narcissist and will be in jail soon. So I went through the court documents. So when has he lied? So that was the end result of the lawsuit. Still an active lawsuit with a jury trial scheduled for 2023. Currently, the judge is withholding ruling on plaintiff's motion to compel discovery because the defendant ensured discovery would be submitted by the 9th of the 9th. No, he did. Don't be silly. He doesn't do things like that. He gets his followers mods to do it. So that makes... what? Fancy yourself a reporter journalist too. So this is someone else has put, Todd Paulson, is this you, Unirock? How much are you paying Unirock for this? And Todd says, that piece of, you know what, sure had no problems taking money from us though. He's just another big-mouthed YouTube gatekeeper who thinks he's a moral authority, but he's a spineless loser. The lies, false. You know, if you're going to continue to post blatant lies that can and will be proven false, at least make them sound like you're minimally educated. So apologise for the way he spoke to her. Yes, I can't believe it. He prays for it. So it's interesting. What's a drongo? Bo? It is an incompetent fool. Incompetent fool. So, yeah. So I have said that I've not seen, and I did tell Unirock to, you know, leave it for the big kids to deal with, because obviously he doesn't have the comprehension to be able to handle this. So we're going to have a listen to a bit of Chrisley Confessions as well. So I'm actually just going to, with you all here, we're going to go and we're going to check to see whether we have another document that says that there's been a settlement. The document that I have seen relates to it all going it being dismissed. A bird or in slang an idiot. Yes. So notice the filing. Right. Yeah. Yeah, there is a drongo bird. So there was a bird that would fly when everyone was flying, when all the birds were flying north for winter to the warm. It was flying to the cold. So this is what Unirock has quoted. So I'm going to just show this to you again because, as I said, I think it's really important to look at it. All right, let's have a look. This talks about the production company. So it has been resolved between defendants Paulson and Without a Crystal Ball on one hand and third-party defendants Courtside Group and Live One Inc. on the other. It is hereby stipulated and agreed by and among defendants Katie Joy Mansky Paulson and Without a Crystal Ball and third-party defendants Courtside Group and Live One through their respective attorneys. All claims of defendants Catherine Mansky Paulson and Without a Crystal Ball LLC against third-party descendant Main Hero are dismissed with prejudice without attorneys' fees, courts, or disbursements to any party. Now, that could mean that there's been a settlement. It could mean that there's a settlement. But here's my issue with that. Now, just remember that I'm really I really don't know what I'm talking about. There was an affidavit of service. There was a whole pile of returned correspondence. So here's my issue. Where are we? So not here. Oh, here we go. Here's my issue. On the 11th of the 8th and on the 12th of on the 29th of the 7th and on the 11th of the 8th, there was returned mail. That the documents that they tried to serve on the third parties were actually no known address. Let me show you this. See? Courtside Group Inc. No known address. So my question is, all right, and assuming that one would tell someone that they were a real rag doll, she meant they were stuffed a bit. So when we go back and we look at this, okay, so we've got the fact that the group was not served. There's nothing here to say that there has been served. So my question is, right, then if you've not actually been served properly with a document, how are you going to be actioned with it? So is it the fact that because they weren't actually properly served that Katie realised it was going to be too much work and they just dropped it? Or did they reach out and they come to a settlement? These are questions that I have. But I can't tell you, and I'm not going to sit here and say, that there's been a settlement. Now, Todd Chrisley has been adamant that there has been no settlement. So let me find his post up here for a minute. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that he didn't. Todd Chrisley hasn't said that at all. And so I'm interested in what you think is the truth. I mean, this is the thing. I don't want you to even believe what I'm telling you. I want you to go and sort it out yourself. Right, so yeah, that one's a good one, isn't it? A stuffed rag doll. I like that. All right. Where are we? I'm looking for Todd Chrisley. Can't find him now. Yeah, no, it does make perfect sense. It's quite interesting, isn't it? So here we go. Let's have a look, see what Todd Chrisley's had to say here. All right, and I'm going to also be talking about, well, here we go. Sometimes I get a bit excited and I forget to prepare everything before I start. All right, so all right. So the reason why Rag was never said, you said that. Oh, really? Rag was never said, you said that. Oh, a real stuff. Oh, look, I told you I'm not really. I'm all over the place. Oh, all right. So this is what Todd Chrisley's tweeting. He's replying to some stuff at the moment. So we're gonna, as I said, we're gonna have to go. Right. So he says here, hello, Bella. So he says here he has no requirement to do anything. He merely stated that he apologized for the way he said certain things, but there is no settlement. So this was from Sassy from Instagram. So it says, do you think Todd Chrisley said this due to their third-party settlement? Or, as I said, I don't know. Let's have a listen to this bit. And then, so thank you to Sassy. I'm going to, for sharing this. Right, so let's have a listen to this. Is that not working?
If I said something that offended you, then I'm sorry. Because, folks, I was not in a place to be able to do that because I always felt in a prideful way that what I said what I said, to quote my friend Nene Leaks. But sometimes the way I said it may not have been appropriate. You know, the same thing with this YouTuber, you know, that I have been going back and forth with for a year or so. I wish no harm to this woman. I wish no harm to her child. I don't know if her child's sick or if he's not sick. You know, if you read everything that's online and you read the tweets and the Reddits and the messages that, you know, have been sent to me and whatever, you really only know what you know. You're not in that house. You know, you don't know what this woman may or may not be going through. And I look at all these posts that she's made and all the people that she's attacked, and there's a part of me, and Judy, you said this last week, and this is just kind of sat with me. You have to pray for your enemies. Yeah. And folks, that's the hardest thing. What did I say to you? You said, I don't know that I can do that. I don't know that God has led me to that. But you have to.
There you go. So, is that an apology? Or is he just sort of, what do you think? And as he says, he's got no requirement to do anything. He merely stated that he apologized for the way he said certain things, but there is no settlement. Now, here's my take on it. Why would he still be talking about her if she's not allowed to be spoken to about? You see, everything that I'm reading from people or seeing from people are saying, oh, there's been a settlement, you know, he can't talk about this or that or whatever. But yet here he is talking about her. We all know who he's talking about. And, you know, he refers to the stuff that she puts out there. We know she puts out everything. I mean, she talked about her son just the other day again. Talked about the fact that he, you know, about the fact that he'd recovered from heart surgery again. She was talking about her son. So what are people supposed to do? This is my question. So to you all. So tell me, does that sound like an apology? Does that sound like that's part of a settlement? Do you think that there was a settlement and that was an apology? Now, normally, if there are apologies, well, actually, let me rephrase that. In Australia, if there are apologies to be made, it is usually a lawyer that does it on behalf of their client. That's what usually happens here. There'll be a statement written by a lawyer or read by the lawyer on behalf of the client. That's how it works here. Now, I know that I'm talking about a completely different country here. But tell me, how do you get what Unirock posted from what we've seen? Is it a reach? So that's what that's what I'm interested in. Is it a bit of a reach? Or am I the drongo? and I need to go back to my law books. I mean, yeah, I was probably a bit harsh to Unirock. No, I don't think anything is settled, Cisco. The thing is, what did Unirock ever do to me? Well, Unirock hasn't done anything to me, but I get really sick and tired of stupid things being written. So, I just thought, I'm going to just call it out. I just call it out. And we're just looking at the evidence. So, from what I've seen, as I said, and I've said this all along. I said this from the moment we read that document. I'm not sure how, if they haven't been served properly, how there could be a settlement. I don't know whether there was a time period in which they had to have been served and it expired. I don't know. I don't know how it works over there. But it just seems really dodgy that you've got on the court file, which we've just gone through, returned mail, and then a dismissal and nothing else. Like, is that ringing any bells to anybody else? Or am I like really, am I the drongo? So yeah, this is just me thinking out loud, actually. And Cal, your earlier question about mention about Carlton, yes, but it wasn't last night a good match. I mean, and looks like Melbourne and Sydney, which I've got on in the background, is going to be could be similar. I like good close footy, but I like it even better when it's not my team, and I can sit and enjoy a good game of football. So for those of you also interested, my love life going pretty well as well. So that's good, eh? Anyway. So yeah, tell me, I'm interested to see what you all think about incompetent fool, Will. It's Australian slang. You know I like to educate you all. So, Will, I was saying that all the evidence that we've seen doesn't show that Todd Chrisley has apologised, nor does it show, that I still don't understand how a settlement could have come if they hadn't been served. So if somebody can tell me about that, how that happens. And again, remember, I live in Australia. I just know how things work in Australia. So I'm open, and I'm open to be told. I'm open to be shown that I'm wrong. And I did ask Unirock to show evidence about it. So, I mean, I could sit and wait for the evidence. I love how Will goes, I don't know what one is, but yes, Unirock is one. And before anyone says to me that it could be come across as being defamatory, if you noticed, I asked it as a question. So, therefore, I've asked the question. I haven't stated it as fact. See, some people think I'm an idiot. TC apologised about being heated. That's about it. Same. On the background, Brisbane. Just want them to win to remind the Vicks that that high go. There is no evidence. I can't see how there's any evidence about. And then everyone's saying about Chrisley going to jail. I believe he's put in a fairly decent appeal now. That he was going to appeal it, and I did question at the time that I thought maybe he could get off on a technicality because there was some rumours going around about some dodgy stuff that was happening. So again, I think people like Unirock needs to get off bandwagons and really start looking at what's factual. That's just me. So, but look, I know there's no evidence. But as I said, it's pretty sad that, people have just are so determined that somebody is so bad. And look, I know people do that with Katie as well, but I mean, all the stuff that I talk about her is her own words. I heard him say that. I heard Todd Chrisley say, look, he thought he defended people, but he didn't essentially say he would defended her. He just said, yeah, I get a bit worked up, but don't we all get worked up when we're when we get a bit upset? So I thought that Todd Paulson's comment though was very interesting about how Unirock is an idiot. So, and that he'd be the, hey, short order cook, hey, how are you all? So yeah. Okay. So thanks. Hello, Laura. So remember that there is an informal. There is an informal. The next thing in the Chrisley one is the informal hearing on the 9th when KJ's lawyers and still 5 minutes back, but our learner lawyer is not a drongo. Thank you, Bo. There's that informal hearing on the 9th where she's got to confirm that all the documents have been delivered. And if not, Chrisley's lawyers will get will ask for a ruling on the motion to compel. So I'm sorry, who is it that's on the front foot here and who's on the back foot? Because I don't think Chrisley's on the back foot here. Drongos are not allowed in law school. I tell you what, I'm feeling like a drongo at the moment. I had 3,000 words. I could only write 1,800 and I was done. I sat and stared at it, and the deadline came and went. I came and I just went, you know what, I'm going to submit it. It is worth 30%, but means I'm going to have to nail my exam. I can do that. Happened with a couple of other subjects where one of the assignments I really struggled with and I bombed and then picked it up. I picked up the marks in the exam. So I'm just going to have to really study hard for the exam. So I can do it. Yeah. So, I mean, I haven't spoken to you. I know I've done a few recorded videos, but what are your thoughts on Barilaro's charges? And Amy Brown has left Investment New South Wales, and that job's gone to somebody else. And there was a Senate's estimate hearing, and discovered that none of the people in those jobs have actually done anything for New South Wales yet. So there's big, Barilaro has really opened a can of worms, really. So that's pretty cool. I had about 10 things on my list to talk about tonight too. What's he changed? What's he's charged with now? I've been assault, and he essentially hit a cameraman who was filming him after dinner one night. Well, even if he wanted to, the fact that he's been charged with something would definitely mean that he's not in a position to take the job because he wouldn't pass the clearance anymore. So That's interesting, isn't it? But his girlfriend also hit him, but they haven't charged her yet. Hey, Vedandra, how are we all? So, I don't believe Katie Joy has been live has done any lives for a while. I am thinking after the last few that she's done, where she's opened her mouth and she's put her foot in it. My feeling and opinion is my feeling and opinion is that her lawyers have told her to shut up. Plantaquet says not to mention the government and the police are now looking into the company that Bruz worked for. Yes, he was working for a construction group that apparently has links to organised crime and drugs. So he's got himself into a little bit of trouble. Right, Laura's saying he apologised for how he worded things but not retracted them. That's Todd Chrisley, yeah. As I said, he worded things. And he's right. I mean, if you start looking at all the stuff, even that Katie's posted about her son, or it's so confusing because it's so contradictory. You don't know what is right or what's true or what's not, because she'll say, oh no, that was from that, but then this happened, but there's nothing to state. Anyway, and I don't know, because 7M and Todd started talking again and she can't. Well, that's true. I mean, the fact that remember she talked about 7M missing a deadline, and they came in and they've just gone bang 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 with all these suits, with all these motions, and she's gone because she was relying on the fact that her motion to dismiss would get up for 7M, and she was hoping that she could really milk the fact that Christy was going to jail, but now he's appealing. And Short Order Cook says it's starting to fall apart for Bruz, and Plantaquet says they'll not be happy for Bruz for bringing police. No, they won't be. No, and I mean, and if he thought it was being hard being followed by a cameraman, wait till he's actually followed by police everywhere, and they start following him around because they want to see who he's talking to. So yeah, he's really put himself into a bit of a. He's got himself into a little bit of bother by the looks of it, Bruz. So I'm happy to hear your opinions, what you think about everything. What are your thoughts? Yeah. Years ago, ever since apparently, this is Unirock. Now it's Todd Paulson. It's Todd Paulson that's brought out that the fact that they paid Unirock. Katie paid me $100,000 according to the fraudsters. Apparently, I don't know where he's got that figure from, but I've read two tweets. We went through a tweet earlier where Todd had said. Where Todd had said that they'd paid him. Have I been paying? No, I haven't been. I haven't really been paying attention to the Department of Justice versus Trump. I've been struggling with my uni work, so I've had to really try and just put my head down. But my news feed is just full of stuff at the moment. Short Order Cook says he thought being followed by FJ was bad. Well, he is absolutely loving that. Absolutely loving that with a passion. He's loving it all. It's called. It's all ears about the New South Wales state. Yes, that's right. So yeah. Always wondered if in law school the professors have office hours and offer to help you. Look, they do. Well, the problem with a lot of the professors or a lot of my instructors is that they are actually working lawyers. So one of my lecturers is a top criminal barrister. So he really, it all depends on how things are in court. I mean, sometimes he'll actually still be in his robes when he's teaching class because he will have come straight out of the court into his office and gone and started class. So they don't always. So usually you have study groups and that. But look, there's just one. The law of agency and in commercial law has just the question got me stumped, and it was just I just couldn't get my head around it. And no matter what I did, I just could not get my head around it, and it was just annoying me. So I did the best that I've done the best that I can, but I know that that question's not going to be in the exam now, so I can actually focus on the other stuff. And as I said, I did it last time. I was able to get through after stuffing up an assignment. So it's all not lost. You do the best that you can. Look, sometimes I've done that and it surprised me. Just never know. It might be the best piece of writing ever known to man, and I've answered everything. I went through the rubric, and I've done a pretty good job. The other interesting thing is on one hand they tell you have to keep everything nice and succinct for court, but then on the other hand they say you have to follow your word limit. So it's very confusing. It gets confusing. Yeah. So look, but the good thing about them being working lawyers is that they know what's going on, and a lot of our case studies and everything are based on real life scenarios. So we get the cases that they change the names, of course, but generally it's that stuff that they've dealt with or issues that they've dealt with. And I swear sometimes there was one where there was one of the case studies that we dealt with in one of our classes was one that was a working case, and he admitted after the class that he was stuck and he had some ideas about how to defend the case now. So nothing like asking your students, so yeah, so that's it's really look, it's short order cook. It's really hard. I dropped a couple of subjects. I know I dropped a subject, and I thought the load would be a little bit easier, but I find that if I drop it, seems to be harder. So I meant that the criminals who know the construction company will not be happy with. Oh no, of course they won't be happy. Pouring rain here Friday and the weekend ahead. Wow. Pouring with the rain. We had a really nice day today. So I think it's supposed to rain. I don't know when it's supposed to rain, but that's good. That was a very good wind carol by the Brisbane Lions yesterday. I was singing the song. Yeah. So I think we've all come to the you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we've all sort of come to the fair conclusion that there was no settlement. As I said, I haven't had time to look into what happens if documents haven't been served, but I just don't know how things happen if the service was. But is he? Hey, oh wow. It's another close one. It's only a goal in it again. What is it with these close games? That's good. So it was hot here today. Wow. Oh, guess what I'm sitting here doing, Vidandra? I'm not gonna. It's gonna be a after. It's gonna be an after film. I'm just sitting here doing it now while I'm talking. That's what I generally do at the moment. I just am sitting down and I'll do, and then I go, oh, I should have filmed that. No, I'll go through what I've done. Yes, I'm just doing that now, and I'm just doing the next week because I've actually run out of the kits now. I need to buy some, and so I'm using all leftovers at the moment. So this week's going to be my leftovers week. Using leftover stickers. Yeah. So look, yeah. Wasn't the settlement KJ's countersuit against podcast company? No joke. Look, as I said, I don't know, because if you look at the court file, the documents were never actually the original document she sent. The documents that she sent to the court actually was sent to the production company, were returned as not at this address. So my question has been, if they never received the documents, are they technically received? And therefore, is it a settlement? That's what I'm saying. Or did she not do it on time and the court's automatically taken it off the list? That's what I want to know. I just don't know how this all works because, different country. Because my understanding is here that if you don't get it, if you can't serve it the first time, you actually have to go back to the court and let the court know, and then get permission to serve it at another address. So, and again, I could be wrong, but that's what I've seen happen. If you remember rightly, in the Barilaro Friendly Geordies case, they wanted to serve Google. They actually had to get the court's permission to send it to a couple of addresses because they weren't sure whether it was going to work. So, or was it the fact that when they realised it didn't get served, they reached out and then realised that they weren't going to have much of a case and then dropped it, or what? There's just not enough information here. So it's just my little brain asking lots of questions. That's all. I've just got questions. And yeah. And before people say to me about the fact that I've called him a name and it's defamatory, if you noticed, I actually asked the question. It's a totally different thing. I haven't stated if he was or not. I've asked the question and I've put it out there for opinion. Oh dear. That's how you do it. It's about opinion. And, Unirock would be more than happy. As I said, I want to see these papers about this settlement that he keeps talking about because, there's been no statement. There's been nothing from no official statement from the production company to say that there was a settlement. Some of the videos, but then he talked about it again The fact that Todd Chrisley spoke about her today in his podcast would say to me that wasn't a condition. Your brother's not a federal poly, lied when he's stopped saying his address was Parliament House, since why Christo was obliged to return it in past correct. Our lawyer is learning. Yes, I am. I think the third party is just didn't want to waste time with KJ. It's sealed so KJ can brag on it being great. Well, that's true. I mean, that's the thing. And if they're not going to talk, they're not going to obviously talk about or tell us what the terms were. So, and that's fine. We all know she's declared the Queen of Minnesota, but I just don't like it when there's untruths. Tell us the truth. At least tell us the truth. Look, I think the production companies didn't, but someone has gone through and they haven't deleted all of them. Some have been deleted. I mean, whether or not what he had to say was an apology, I think we could argue. We could probably argue for a while. I don't think it was. I don't think it was an apology, because usually I would have thought he would have had to have he would have had to do a direct apology to her, but he didn't. Well, she is happy to talk about CSA again. She's changed again because she's trying to get people to stop thinking about the court cases. Because if she has people talking about the court cases, she's there's a bit of an issue there. So distract them, hey. And I don't know why. I haven't watched any of her videos, but she's gone reaching again. In my opinion, just remember, everything's my opinion. I don't know everything. I like to think that I know quite a bit, but I don't know everything. Please make sure you do your own research, and that's why I put it out to my people here, because they're a lot more intelligent than me and are really good at helping me. So, yeah. Yeah. It's funny, I'm starting to get answers to my question that I put to my stream. I wrote, what is Unirock a drongo? And people are starting to say yes. Police have letters like ROs. If they're false info. They're not legible and must be returned in person. Yeah, see, I don't know how it works I know how it works here, but yeah, I don't know how it works over there. So that's why I'm really saying I don't know how, from my point of view and how things work here, I don't know how there could have been a settlement if the document was not served properly. I just know if it was me, I wouldn't have, I would have played dumb and said never got it, because it went to the wrong address. And it says on the court file that the address was unknown. I showed it to you when it says, returned. So if things are being returned, then we've got a problem, don't we? So this is, again, Minister Sobriety. Pulled a couple of clips addressing to he said he was going to when he responded to you. Let's have a look. He says, the cadres look to TC. Will this be the start of trend behaviour amongst the cadres? Will hate and disparagement turn? Let's have a listen to this one.
It costs you nothing to be kind to a random stranger. And I talked about this. I actually love that I embrace saying, I'm sorry. If I said something that offended you, then I'm sorry. Because, folks, I was not in a place to be able to do that because I always felt in a prideful way that what I said what I said, to quote my friend Nene Leaks. But sometimes the way I said it may not have been appropriate. You know, the same thing with this YouTuber, you know, that I have been going back and forth with for a year or so. I wish no harm to this woman. I wish no harm to her child. I don't know if her child's sick or if he's not sick. You know, if you read everything that's online and you read the tweets and the Reddits and the messages that, you know, have been sent to me and whatever, you really only know what you know. You're not in that house. You know, you don't know what this woman may or may not be going through.
Okay, so that's the first one he's posted. Here's the second one.
This YouTuber, you know, I want to say that, you know, I responded to her negativity. All of the things that she was posting about us that was not true, I responded to. And I responded in a snarky way, in an unkind way in certain things that I've said. But nothing that I've ever said has not been true. But I should have just left it alone. I should have just said, you know what? I'm done with that. I can't save this person from herself. And I don't know what pain she's going through. If her child is sick, that could be something that has made her bitter towards the world. If she has had harm in her life, that could make her bitter towards the world. And, you know, going back to this YouTuber, you know, I want to say that, you know, I responded to her negativity or towards the world.
So that's what he posted. You know, so, as I said, what do you reckon? It's just prepping the field for the defense. I also responded in a snarky, sarcastic way, knowing it would get a reaction. I could have just left things alone, but so he's saying that what he said was not untrue. He just could have handled it better, and he was responding to what was being said to him by her. But is that an apology? I don't know. I'm not the Chris Hansen you're looking for. Had a lawyer. That's interesting. Yeah. So what do you reckon? Is that the apology that, you know, has been proclaimed by Unirock? And if Settlement said that she couldn't be spoken about, why has he spoken about her? Because if there was going to be a blanket apology, it would have been done by the production company at the start, or for me, it would be written. As I said, I've just become really cynical these days, and I just don't trust anything people say to me. But, you know, I want to get what you all think. Tell me what your thoughts are on that. I reckon nothing is settled, and these drongos need a throttling. Yeah. They need their blocks knocked off, Cal. Oh no, that they'll now turn around and say that I've threatened them. It's not an apology. It's just his way of saying maybe he didn't react right and put some shade on KJ. Prepping for defense if needed. Maybe KJ. Well, that's true. Yeah. Because he can turn around and say, well, I did, you know, say, well, if I've offended you. Yeah, as I said, I still don't know. I'm confused. Allegedly. Either way, he's saying he's praying for. That shows he can be concerned even for his enemies. KJ could never do that. True. Yeah. So That's where we stand with that, really, because as I said, it's just bizarre. I just find it all just weird. Joe is riling up koalas and kangaroos to attack him. He was probably made to apologise, but was not going to mention her name and give her. Well, that is true. I mean, that could be true. Yeah, that could be a good point. Um, See, I'm just I would just always just use the thing. Well, you didn't serve me. you, you didn't serve me, so third quarter now. Is it okay? I've got the scores up. Yeah. Wow. It's gonna be another close game. I thought the Brisbane coach put a little bit of shade because they asked him whether he was going to fly to Melbourne, and he said no, he didn't want to catch COVID. I think he was not very happy about them taking the masks off. I think TC was just being reflective and being a bigger person. TC tweeted that, yeah, he did tweet, there's no settlement. But see, there's no settlement between him. There's been, what's occurred has obviously occurred between KJ and the production company. But as I said, I'm still not 100% certain that there was even a settlement there. You can say as a firm, well, we'll take these down. We're just going to private these because we don't want to cause any trouble, and that could have just happened out of goodwill. And yeah, I just don't know. As I said, so then there's this here. There is no win. If I said something that offended, then I apologise because I don't know what is going on with this woman. He referred to her as this woman. There is no win. I said if I said something that offended her, then I apologise because I don't know what's going on with this woman. And then there's lots of stuff there. All right. So there is no win. Says, I just lost respect for Todd Chrisley. Someone says, I just lost all respect for Todd Chrisley. And he said to that, please don't. You are taking this out of context. So, I mean, he did say he was going to pray for her. So, I mean, and this is, I have no requirement to do anything. I merely state that I apologise for the way I say certain things. There is no settlement, nor is one being discussed. Yeah. Look, sometimes you apologise, I guess, just to appease the situation. And not necessarily, look, I've apologised for things just to, put an end to the situation. So anyway, that's where we go. But see, she hasn't spoken about Todd Chrisley since word came out about the appeal, and she's stayed well away. She hasn't done a live since the last one that was like a drunken rant. And so, yeah, I'm just wondering whether she was told she had to stop talking. It is sometimes, Cal, but sometimes for your own sake, you have to apologise just so that you can move on. Because some people are just drongos. I'm going to have everybody walking around now saying the word drongo. That it's just easier to do it than to keep fighting. I hate doing it. Sometimes it's easier. I have said it sarcastically and said, well, I apologise that you're a drongo. Oh dear, I apologise that you're a drongo. So anyway, I think that's about all. I think we've come to the conclusion, or you've come to your conclusion as to what the definition of a drongo is. We've gone through that, and it's up to you now to decide whether you think Unirock fits into that category. So, thank you for joining me. As I said, I've taught you some new Australian slang. I hope you get a little bit of fun out of it. As also remember, it's also the name of a bird. Yeah. So, and a racehorse that just couldn't win in the 1920s, we discovered. So anyway, I want to thank you for joining me. Look, if you want to hit the like and subscribe button, and if you want to support the channel, there are ways listed below that you can do that. You can say thanks. You can do whatever you like. And look, I'm going to try and get back on. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know that it'll be tomorrow. I'm not home a lot these days. Yeah, I'm home tonight. Yeah, look, I'm not giving up for Danto. I know I do have to repeat. I'm going to have to repeat a couple of units, and I know that. And you know what? I'm okay with that, because sometimes you don't get things the first time, and I think that's a really important lesson to learn, particularly with law. It's just so much. Look, in my assignment, which I didn't get the required number of words, I had 25 cases quoted. 25, and so that's a lot of research that you have to do for all that type of stuff. So, I just know that it'll be better for next time. So, look, whatever happens, because they do it in trimesters, I've left myself some time that I can do everything without losing time. So, yeah, it's good. We're all sort of, yeah, good. I'm going to probably do some more. If it should succeed, fail because the third time's exactly. Yes, Joe, you're amazing. Can do any. Well, that's right. I can do anything I put my mind to. I want to follow up on. I've got a list. I did write out a big long list of stuff that I want to talk about today too. I don't think I got it in here. Amy Brown no longer with Investment New South Wales. Her assistant is now the Investment New South Wales boss. She's moved. The Senate estimates met and was told that, for example, the guy that's in London's paid $600,000 a year, and he's not done one. Like, there's been no investment from. He's not had one successful investment yet for that money. want to talk about something called Sludgate. I want to talk about the Murdochs suing a independent newspaper called Crikey. We've talked about the Chrisley podcast. We've talked about Unirock. And I had something here about, KJ not talking about Sun. And then she was talking about Sun. I sort of alluded to that as well. So I've crossed off quite a few on my list. I've got a couple more to do. I might do some of these as pre-records, because sometimes I just do them. Plus, I have to do my Plan With Me and finish that off. So we will get that done, and that will be posted. But yes, so thank you for joining me. And I understand, is it the UK going to get a new Prime Minister as well soon? That's going to be interesting. Because the Queen, I think, is going to meet the new Prime Minister in Balmoral Palace, which has never happened before. So in Balmoral House. So that's going to be very interesting. It's her Scotland house, isn't it? So that's very interesting. So yes, so there's a whole pile of things that are happening around the world. That's very, very interesting. Anyway, Melbourne's back in front. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you again next time. Apple, Google, and Meta. Wow, are they? All right. Well, I might have to do some looking into that. If I can get my next assignments on the slap laws or anti-slap laws. So that's due next week. So once I've got that done, I'm on my home. That's it for all of my assignments, and it's just exams work. So once next week's done, I can start looking at other stuff, and yeah. Anyway, as I said, I'll catch you again next time, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye for now.